Hey guys, I'm David, one of the three people on Apostolos trio, where we will be talking about what is going on in the world for the week and what we feel needs to be discussed. We are living in one of the most interesting and crucial periods ever. With technology as advanced as it is, and politics split on almost everything, we are seeing the world shift entirely right before our eyes, and at such a quick pace too. Big media has taken a turn dramatically over the past few years, so people are turning to more independent media in search for the truth. And we are trying to make that a little easier for you. Of course, our sources will be linked in the description below, and most importantly, we want to get a conversation started. We don't care where you stand on the issues, but we just want to create an open space where people can talk freely about it. With that being said, today we're going to be talking about the gross domestic product and unemployment rates, Hurricane Florence, and immigration. Okay, so let's get started with the economy. On September 10th, Trump tweeted that the GDP rate is 4.2% higher than the unemployment rate, which is just at 3.9%, meaning that this would be the first time this has happened in over 100 years. Although, the economy has grown by 4.2% annually, and the unemployment rate was at 3.9% in August, there is, however, one flaw in his statement, and that is him saying this has not occurred in over a century. The Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis's Economic Research Department reports that this has happened at least 62 times in only the last 70 years, with the last time being in 2006. Economist Justin Wolfers was reported saying, "It is certainly not a natural comparison. I've never seen one made before. It's not what a macroeconomist would make." Trump tweeting false claims to make it seem like he's accomplishing much more than he actually is not necessarily new news. But the good news is that our economy is doing well. Albeit, it does raise the question, for how long? What do you guys think? Trump has been known to tweet false facts and claims, so this really just looks like another attempt to try and make it seem that him and his administration are being successful, to which a lot of people will argue that the economy is doing well due to Obama, and all the steps he took in office to help fix our economy. Being that when certain policies and programs are put in place, you do not see the changes for a long time. And it's simply what we are seeing now, but Trump is just taking credit for it. Which side do you fall on? Let us know in the comments below. Trump has been receiving a lot of backlash from the media for this mess up. Like said before, it's not the first time that his tweets have come up short of being true. Naturally, Trump's defenders are going to have to come to his rescue. Kevin Hassett, the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, was quoted saying, "What is true is that it is the highest in 10 years. At some point, somebody probably conveyed it to him, adding an extra zero to that, and they shouldn't have done that. It would only be convenient that Trump received false information prior to this tweet that again makes him look good." My view on the issue is that it could be a mistake, but given Trump's credibility and tweet history, it could very likely just be demagoguery. His reputation for being unreliable could be a contributing factor to his approval ratings being so low. According to Real Clear Politics, his approval rating is 40.9%, while 53.4% disapprove, and the rest remain neutral. He has 2 more years to work on this, or he could have trouble winning the 2020 election, but only time will tell. And I believe it's too early at this point to really tell. In other news, in the midst of preparations for Hurricane Florence, which as of writing this is a Category 4 hurricane predicted to hit North Carolina at speeds of 130 miles an hour, certain budgetary adjustments have come to life. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, which are the ones who prepare for events such as this, had $10 million worth of their funds transferred to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or the ICE, for detention and removal operations. In fact, this transfer of funds is only a fraction of the $200 million that were just transferred to the ICE for these same purposes. Although, there are documents released by Senator Jeff Merkley, Tyler Hohen, an agency's spokesperson, tweeted out that these false claims were invented for the purpose of pushing a false agenda, and that money transferred from FEMA could not have been used for hurricane relief efforts. It was then backed by the agency, who said that the funds did not come from disaster relief, but rather funds set aside for travel expenses, office supplies, and so on. Critics of this change have been saying that this highlights the Republican interests and fears that are imaginary, that should have no real precedence. For example, Mexican immigrants coming across the border. Rather than very real fears, such as a hurricane wiping out towns and putting our people, our citizens, in immediate danger. Trump's response to this has been to talk about his success in Puerto Rico, even though over 3,000 people died, which FEMA reported was due to underestimating how much supplies would be needed and the difficulty of getting these supplies to the island. He is now claiming that 8 to 16 people died and not the 3,000 people that were previously reported. Rather, that these are numbers just made up by the Democrats to further their agenda in making the Trump administration look bad. Harvard came out with a study saying that closer to 4,000 people died, and while initially the body count could have been in the 20s, this does not include the aftermath of Hurricane Maria, where people were dying due to there being no power, meaning proper equipment in hospitals was not working, or people who had an emergency and could not make it to the hospital due to road blockage. There are a plethora of different reasons for death which were provoked by this hurricane, so if Trump believes that these should not count, and that for the only way someone's death to actually be considered caused by the hurricane was if they were swept up into the eye of the storm, well, from my perspective, it seems like he's refusing to look at the bigger picture. In August, the governor of Puerto Rico formally established the death toll to be at least 2,975 victims. This number came from a study done by George Washington University's Milken Institute School of Public Health. Also, Mayor of San Juan, Puerto Rico, Carmen Yulín Cruz, was reported saying, "The president continues to refuse to acknowledge his responsibility, and the problem is that if he didn't acknowledge it in Puerto Rico, God bless the people of South Carolina and the people of North Carolina." So while the president feels he deserves praise for U.S. efforts in Puerto Rico, it appears that the people of Puerto Rico think otherwise. In the event of a catastrophe, we must look at all the outcomes of it, including set of problems that the disaster can cause. Comparing this to an earthquake, we don't think of deaths caused by the people dying from quaking. Casualties tend to happen because of debris falling on people or destruction of property. If this were applied to the given situation, well, this might not be such a controversial issue. But, again, this is just my opinion. And on to our last topic for today, and kind of related to what we were talking about earlier, immigration. Seemingly, the Trump administration had given up on the idea of a wall and are planning to pay Mexico around $20 million from the foreign assistance funds to help pay for the deportation of illegal immigrants residing in Mexico who plan on coming to the United States. Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Katie Waldman said that this is all in an attempt to help immigration flow at the border, and they want to ensure people with legitimate claims have access to appropriate protections. This is their next step in their highly controversial zero-tolerance policy, and some immigrant advocate groups are criticizing the most recent step as unnecessary and misguided. The executive director of the National Immigration Forum was quoted saying, "We should not be paying another country to do our dirty work." In my honest opinion, this seems like a misuse of federal funds that could be going to aiding foreign countries that the US has relations with. Trump claimed that Mexico does little to nothing in their efforts to stop immigration through the southern border, although, according to the Nonpartisan Migration Policy Institute, Mexico has deported more people than the US has and has been receiving backlash from immigrant rights activists for years. This isn't necessarily a good thing, but it shows that the foreign assistance funds could be going towards something a bit more productive, especially since it was not too long ago that Trump also wanted to cut these funds, but ultimately backed away from the idea. This is all part of the Trump administration's decision to take billions of dollars in foreign assistance that would normally go to things such as helping stabilize Syria or build schools and hospitals in Palestine. On a side note, the Trump administration is ending all foreign aid policy in Palestine. The United States Agency for International Development has informed congressional aides that they would be cutting funding from all projects that benefit Palestinians alongside Israelis. Tim Reiser, foreign policy aide, claimed that the agency did not want to cut this funding, but they were practically forced to by the White House. He later said that it was either shutting down the program and entirely losing their funding, or cut these specific programs and keep something else going. With that being said, the USAID is keeping programs with Israeli Jews and Israeli Arabs funded. This act was pushed by Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, and the top White House advisor in the Middle East. Kushner was reported saying, "Nobody is entitled to America's foreign aid." He was reportedly working on a peace proposal between Palestinians and Israelis and claimed that this will finally give him maximum negotiating leverage over the Palestinians. After this takes effect, one of the Palestinians' largest donors will cease to fund projects. For now, projects with multi-year grants will continue to receive all their funds agreed upon. For the most part, they have not been very open about where they're intending to redirect this money, but rather it may just be something we see over time. What do you, the viewers, think where this money should be going to? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. And that's where we're going to be leaving off today. As you probably can tell, my opinions came out a bit subjective, but that's the beauty of it. We are all entitled to lean towards whichever side of the political spectrum we choose. Every week, we'll be rotating from 3 speakers, including myself, so you will hear different opinions and different tones from different people. Again, we would love to hear your opinions, no matter where you stand on these issues. If you like what you saw, we'll be coming out with new videos once a week. My name is David, and I'm from Apostolos Trio. Thanks for watching.